And so I went to my husband, who has an MBA, and I said, Husband, I'm going to open a practice where I can see less patients, take better care of them, have more control of my time, and make the same amount of money. And let me tell you, he laughed in my face that day. And he was like, That's not real life, Monica. 15 months in, I realized that this is a service people want and they need. They just don't know it exists. And so we kept getting more and more demand for patients.
I'm Wally Darling, and I'm here with Monica McKitterick,
Yep.
and she's got a couple locations or a few locations in the Austin, Northwest Austin market, and we're going to talk a lot about her business and some of the challenges that she may be facing, and kind of help people understand what it is that she does. So, without further ado, welcome, Monica. If you want to kind of just start with talking a little bit about yourself, maybe some of your background, the general nature of your company, number of employees, things like that.
Sure, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
So, I am actually a family nurse practitioner by trade. So, I have 3 degrees in nursing, not one in business, but I've been winging it for a little while. So, I've been a nurse practitioner for 17 years. And about 6 years ago, after playing in the insurance based healthcare system for 10 years, I decided I couldn't do it anymore. I was 35 and still had another 20 years in healthcare and was just getting burnt out because I was required to see 30 patients a day, treated them like cattle. And turns out I didn't go to school for 9 years to do paperwork. I
Right.
went to school for that long to take care of humans and develop relationships and actually take care of them instead of just write prescriptions and put band-aids on things. So I was relocating to the state of Texas and I was trying to figure out what I was going to do with my life. And I got a Facebook ad that said, primary care physician takes home $400,000 and is home in time for dinner. That was a straight up lie, but that clickbait worked like a charm. And so I clicked on it, and it was all about this model of healthcare called direct primary care. It's much like a gym membership or Netflix for your doctor. So your patients pay a monthly fee and then they can come in as many times as they want. And so it gets rid of all the rules and restrictions that are put in place by insurance companies that prevent your patients from getting same day appointments. They can't schedule online. You are like the Wizard of Oz in the back of the clinic
Hmm.
where nobody can
Yep.
actually talk to you. And it allows you to actually spend time with your patients and do what I love. And so I dove in with 2 feet and I was like, what is this concept? And so I went to my husband, who has an MBA, and I said, Husband, I'm going to open a practice where I can see less patients, take better care of them, have more control of my time, and make the same amount of money. And let me tell you, he laughed in my face that day. And he was like, That's not real life, Monica. Nice try. So I Googled how to write a business plan because ChatGPT was not a thing back then and
Yeah.
wrote a business plan and moved to Texas. 3 weeks later, opened my own direct primary care office, which is called Impact Family Wellness. I didn't have a following of patients. No one in Central Texas knew me with the exception of my in-laws. And so I had to make a name for myself and I had to prove that I had a model of healthcare that would actually work. So it took a lot. It was a lot of work. My initial plan was just to get myself a job. I had no intention of ever hiring any employees. It was just going to be me, my 500 patients, and I was going to live my best life. And then 15 months in, I realized that this is a service people want and they need. They just don't know it exists. And so we kept getting more and more demand for patients that I could not take care of. So I started hiring people. Fast forward 6 years, I now have 10 full time employees, seven of whom are, well, eight of them are nurse practitioners, two are administrative staff, and then I have three contractors that also work for me. So yeah, we take care of 2,200 patients between our three locations, and we just treat people like humans, and
Wow.
people love it. So here we are.
Yeah, absolutely. And you said 6 years. So one thing that comes to mind is how did you guys do going through COVID? I mean, was that an impact?
So actually, COVID was as much as it was awful as a healthcare provider, because it was the first time I really couldn't like help my patients. Like usually I can give them some sort of fix, and in this situation I couldn't. But our office was actually made for COVID because we have always done telehealth. It's always been included in our pricing. There's no extra cost. And so we didn't have to wait for all the insurance companies to say, oh yeah, we'll cover telehealth now. We just did it. So it really didn't affect us negatively from that standpoint. Now, of course, the financial side of it, because people didn't have money to pay for things, that's where we did. But from a healthcare standpoint, it didn't affect us at all. We were ready for that. So,
And 2,200 patients in 6 years.
yeah.
That's an amazing success story in and of itself. I
Yeah.
noticed on your website, it looked like you had some employees, nurse practitioners, and then it kind of had a little caveat in there, accepting new patients, which,
Yes.
anybody that's ever gone through trying to find a new doctor, sometimes you can call for an hour and get all these clinics that aren't accepting new clients.
Right.
And
Yeah,
so,
the struggle is real out there. The average wait time to see a primary care provider in this country is 29 days. And I'm sorry, but you might die in that amount of time.
yeah.
So we have same day appointments. If you sign up to be a patient at my office today, you can get an appointment tomorrow. And we're all about it. It's really what we live and die on at our office is being available to our patients, because when you make healthcare available and convenient and affordable, people will actually get healthcare and not wait for sick care. And that's a huge difference in how you approach patients.
And was there any challenge to getting ability to bill through different insurance companies or plans or anything like that?
So the beauty is we don't do any of that. We are not
Okay.
credentialed with a single insurance company. All 22 of our all 2,200 of our patients pay us a monthly membership fee. So they pay us a fee, and then they can come in as many times as they want. We don't bill insurance for office visits, annual physicals, lab work, any of it. Now, if they want to use their insurance for things outside the office, like lab work or an x-ray, or they need to go see a specialist, they can absolutely do that. But unfortunately, your insurance company doesn't see the value of us. And so they won't pay for our insurance, our membership. Now, as of January of 2026, you can use your HSA to pay for our membership. So that is definitely a benefit. We're making strides in the right direction to make some changes to our healthcare system. But I will tell you, if you are an insurance-based practice, getting credentialed with insurances typically takes between 3 to 12 months.
Yeah.
And it is a disaster that as a healthcare provider, you go to school for so long, only for then an insurance company to tell you whether you can do your job or not. Like you can't
Yeah.
even see a patient because you aren't credentialed with their insurance. Like it's insane. So our model actually takes healthcare back and puts the control in the consumer. So unfortunately, so many people in the insurance-based world, they go to see a provider because their insurance company told them they had to. They don't get a pick, right? It'd be the same thing if you walked into the Toyota dealership and you're like, I want the brand new 2025 whatever you want, right? And they were like,
Right.
that's cool, but you can only have the like used three-wheeled whatever's
Yeah.
left over in the back, right? We would never accept that. Yet for some reason in healthcare, we're like, okay, yeah, tell me who should take care of me. It doesn't matter if I like them or not, or if they listen to me or not. It's who my insurance company says I have to see. And so that's who I see. And so that's not the case at our office. Everybody walks in the front door because they chose to be there. And we have to make sure we prove our value. And so we have to take really good care of our patients. Otherwise, we aren't successful. And so that's a big difference when you're taking care of
Yeah,
people.
absolutely. I mean, that's a true niche. I mean, I've had more than my fair share of situations with healthcare over the years. And, right now, like I have an internist as my primary, and then I have some other stuff. But getting it all coordinated
Hmm.
can be almost impossible. And it's like I
Absolutely.
end up having to be my own plan manager, to make sure
Absolutely.
something didn't get dropped through the through the cracks.
Yeah.
Um, so so a family, let's just say it's a husband and wife with a couple of kids. Is
Hmm.
it a sliding scale for your membership, or how's that work?
It's not. So it's by member, but we also have family plans. So like a family of four is $240 per month. and you
Yeah.
can come in as many times as you want. An individual is $79 to $99 based off of your age. Children are $49 a month. And then we also take care of a little over 100 local businesses that either don't offer health insurance or offer some terrible plan that nobody wants nor can use. And so they use us as an alternative. And so any business that signs on at least 5 employees, we drop our monthly fee to just $65 per month per employee. And they can add dependents. We don't care if they're married to that dependent. It doesn't matter. We don't have contracts. There's no ERISA rules, no COBRA rules. We actually make benefits easy, right?
Yeah.
Write that down. We're just here to take care of people. That's really what we want to
Yeah.
do. And that's what we do well. So,
Yeah, and you touch on an area with regards to employer plans versus, big Fortune 500 company plans. But at the end of the day, if you're looking at even if it's subsidized and your contribution as an employee is such every month, well, then you have a five or seven or $10,000 deductible and
yep.
all that stuff. And it's like, for someone to sit down and explain to them that, look, you can have a lot cheaper major medical plan
Hmm.
without all those out of pocket expenses and enroll in your plan, it sounds like, to take care of the normal stuff that happens throughout.
Absolutely. It's really the best of both worlds. If I had my magic wand, all of our patients would have some sort of high deductible plan, health share, catastrophic coverage, something. Because if you need your appendix removed, I'm not your girl. Now,
Yeah.
you develop high blood pressure, diabetes, you can't sleep at night, all the things, you cut your finger. Cool. I'm here for that. But there's a time and a place for health insurance. It's just ridiculously overused. And the cost of things is just asinine in this country.
And I'm self-employed and have been for 25 years. And so I've had private insurance.
Hmm.
Well, for many years, like I'm 64 now, but I, 2 years ago, was shocked by something that had been dormant in my system for 30 years. Something I contracted when I was in the Army overseas. And it completely destroyed my liver. And
Yeah.
so I had catastrophic insurance that was costing me 12 to 15,000 in premiums, plus I had a out of pocket, but it paid for a $600,000 transplant. And so that's what
Hmm.
catastrophic supposed to do. It's not for
Absolutely.
the little acute care and sniffles and whatever.
Right. Your health
So
insurance was meant to be like your car insurance. It
yeah,
doesn't kick in for your tires, your oil changes, and your gas. It's
yeah,
there for when crap hits the fan and someone just totaled your car or someone
yeah,
just totaled your liver. And yeah, that's when it comes into play. But unfortunately, our healthcare plans are so messed up at this point. And most people don't understand them as the other. If you ask 9 out of 10 Americans if they have an HMO or a PPO, they have no idea. Or if
yeah,
they have a copay plan or a high deductible plan, they have no clue. They don't know
yeah,
who to call if they get sick. They just don't have it. And it's because it's so hard. Why
yeah,
is taking care of yourself so dang hard in this country?
yeah.
It's ridiculous. And so we try to make it all easy.
Yeah, and you said I think what 29 days to get in and get to
Yeah.
see somebody. I mean, that could be life or death situations, and it
Mhm.
certainly is a nuisance to try to find out. Well, hey, I did this, and they're going to tell me it's 1 or 2 months before I get to see somebody.
Right.
You know?
Well, this is why our use of the emergency room in this country is so overused, is because you
Yeah,
can't get in to see a medical provider. And so people are going to urgent care and they're going to CR because they can't get in. And that's not good care either, because then they don't
no,
have the continuity. It's just not great. And so we really focus on actual health care and not sick care in our office and try to keep people as healthy as they can, because it really behooves me to keep people healthy, because then you don't call me and you keep paying me. The
yeah,
the healthier you are, the better off I am. Where in the insurance world, it's actually the other way around,
yeah,
where the sicker you are, the better off the insurance company is, and it's just a bad situation.
and then the pharmacy on top of that. I
Hmm.
mean, some of these drugs can be astronomical. I
Well,
mean,
and
they'll
fighting
make
insurance companies to get them covered. And
yeah,
the problem with our healthcare system is we don't actually focus on what the real problem is, right? There's a time and a place for a drug, but we should really talk about things that matter, like stress and sleep and
uh-huh,
body
yeah.
movement and nutrition. Like, makes such a big difference in life. And so if those 4 words have not been spoken to you by your primary care provider, you need to find a new one.
Exactly. And I've been a big advocate for internal medicine, DOs, I think they call them, but because general practitioners, they're as good as whatever, maybe their experience level. But I had one that, 3 years ago that was diagnosing me personally for pneumonia or bronchitis, and it
Hmm.
had nothing to do with that. But she was just checking a box.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
so let me transition a little bit. So tell me, do you see this type of structure that you're talking about as a trend where, more and more this is going to become prevalent in the marketplace?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it has to
Yeah.
because we have way too many healthcare providers burning out and leaving healthcare
Yeah.
altogether. Doctors, nurse practitioners, PAs, they're done with the system. They have some broken CEO in the C-suite telling them how to do their job who's never seen a patient a day of their life, and it's awful. So yes, direct primary care has been around for about 15 plus years at this point. When I started my office 6 years ago, there were about 1,600 of them across the country, and now there's close to 3,000, is my understanding.
Wow,
Now,
double.
right. And it's becoming more popular. It's a much better situation for providers as well as patients, but there's a pretty big barrier to entry as a provider. And that is you have to build your panel. You have to market yourself. You have to nobody just walks in your door because Blue Cross Blue Shield told them. Now, if
Yeah.
you have a panel of patients of 5,000 patients and you transition to a direct care, you can typically expect to take 5 to 10% of them with you. Thankfully, our country is realizing slowly that insurance is not going to keep you healthy. You need somebody who actually cares. And so I think people are starting to realize this. And so my hope is that within the next 10 years, direct primary care is the norm, not the exception, where everybody has a direct primary care provider because we really will be so much healthier and we won't have to use the ER and we won't have to use these specialists because you have somebody who truly knows your name, truly cares, and actually can help you instead of just being a referral mill and sending you to 14 specialists.
So you mentioned marketing, and I mean, I think that's the lifeblood of any small business,
Hmm.
is how do you get qualified client to come in and be a part of your system. So tell me a little bit about high level. I don't need all the nitty gritty, but high level, kind of how are you getting the word out in your practice that's grown from over the last 6 years to 2,200 families or
Well,
patients?
yeah, it is a struggle. And that's because no one knows what direct primary care means. I can't just throw out a Google ad because nobody is typing into Google direct primary care. It takes a lot of education. They have no idea what we do and why they should consider seeing us. So we educate, 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 educate all day long. It's all we do. So I make a ton of social media videos because then I can repeat myself once and get to many
Hmm.
people. But I also do a ton of networking in the community. We live in a town of about 92,000 people. And so I'm involved in the chamber and I go to networking groups and I meet other business owners. And not necessarily everybody I meet needs my services, but they probably know somebody who does. One of our biggest struggles, though, is people not only have to know we exist, but they also have to have a catalyst to pull the trigger, right? Nobody's just coming to me and being like, oh, you have this great service. Let me just pay you for that. I have no reason to come see you. I'm perfectly healthy. I don't need anything. It's usually that they're sick or they're frustrated or
Right.
something has to like trigger it. So unfortunately, I don't have a magic wand for marketing for this at this point. I've done a ton of it. We do a lot of social media. I do a lot of presentations in the community on things from menopause to stress to how to take care of your kids. So it's a lot of putting my face all over the place.
Yeah.
And really being involved in the community has really been our best marketing option. Word of mouth is by far our best marketing strategy, but
So
unfortunately, it's not really a strategy.
let's talk a little bit about maybe some of the things that are big concerns for you as the owner and things that keep you awake at night.
Yeah, I will tell you the biggest thing is marketing by far. I have a really great team. We have a lot of systems in place. We have great administrative staff that handle all the day-to-day stuff. It is really growth and how can I accelerate it? That is my biggest struggle. If I had a magic wand and could tell the whole world what direct primary care is and how it could benefit all of them and make everybody watch it, It would save my life because then everybody would know what we're talking about. But 8 times out of 10 that I meet somebody new and I'm like, oh, have you heard of direct primary care? They're like, no, what are you talking about? And then I tell them about it and they're like, that's the best thing I've ever heard of. It's like, yeah, I know. Come
Yeah.
join us. Right.
Yeah, it's getting them to connect the dots.
Yeah. So
How about key
it's,
employees? I mean, you've been on this growth
mhm.
path. So tell
Yep.
me what concerns you have about turnover and, keeping key employees and things like that.
Yeah. So I stopped seeing patients about a year and a half ago, and I'm just the CEO now. And then I have an operations manager who really runs the day to day
Hmm.
things. We're working on some leadership training with herself and myself to get her up to like a COO level. Because I want to stop working. Let's be honest. So I need other people to do it for
Well,
me.
it's not
So
working like you were. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I'm trying to be work optional. And so the more things I can delegate, I will tell you, I have amazing nurse practitioners, and I have lost two of my nurse practitioners in the last 6 years to babies. So that
Okay.
is my biggest issue is my providers want to be moms, and turns out I can't fight with that. I got nothing. I got nothing to argue with that.
Right.
But we really have not had a ton of turnover of our providers, of our staff, which has been lovely, honestly. We really strive to treat them incredibly well, not only from a compensation standpoint, but from a respect standpoint and a life work balance standpoint to make sure that they want to stay.
Yeah.
There's no better place to work in Central Texas than Impact Family Wellness. And I truly believe that. And I strive to make sure that that is true so that they do want to stay and that they have no reason to leave.
So the next, say, I don't know, year, 2 years, 5-year plan,
Mm-hmm.
uh, what would a perfect world look like in terms of your expansion? Because you've
Yeah.
got the 3 locations now.
Yeah, so I had this bright idea that I was going to open a new clinic every year and I was going to have 10 of them. Because I did it with two, then I got to three. Why not 10, right?
Yeah.
But what I've quickly realized is that every new clinic takes more of me, more of my time, more of my leadership, more of my ability to deal with people's feelings and emotions and all the things. And I'm not here for that. And so I do not plan to open any more clinics. We will fill the clinics we have currently, which will leave us at around 3,500 to 4,000 patients, depending. So I'm striving for the day when you can only join my practice if someone dies, which sounds really morbid, but that is like my ultimate dream is that a
Yeah.
patient has to die, which doesn't happen very often. So,
Right.
um, but I also realize though that I need to have a bigger impact in the world. And so I can't do that solo. So I need more amazing healthcare providers to open practices like mine so that once again, DPC becomes the norm, not the exception. So a few months ago, I actually released a book that is for healthcare providers who are burnt out, are done with the system, and want to make their own life. And the book is not a how to book, it's a should you. Can you be a healthcare provider and an entrepreneur? Because those are two very different things. And so the book answers a lot of questions that I had before I opened my practice. Like, what does this life look like? Can I still go on vacation? What are all these things? And then I released an online course that is from idea to launch. So how to establish an LLC, how to get a bank account. What is an operating agreement? Who knew you needed that to get a bank account? I didn't. And so it gets rid of all those mistakes that I made in the past, so that we can get more healthcare providers to do this. And then I offer consulting on the side. So eventually we're going to fill all my practices so I have nothing else to do. And then I'll do some consulting because it really does fill my cup to help other people get to this point.
Have you ever entertained the idea of possibly creating some franchise
Hmm.
opportunities?
I thought about it and then I realized I don't want to be responsible for someone else's success.
Okay.
And I don't want that to keep me up at night of is
Hmm.
Johnny able to go to the chamber and actually be a human and like talk to people like other humans? Because what I realize is not all people are created equally and
Yeah.
not all people should be entrepreneurs. It is
Right.
a struggle. It is a thing. It's a decision. And so yes, I realize like we could franchise it and we could find the right people to fill those seats, but I don't know that I want that stress in my life. So I am also not a big like money does not drive me. My
Okay.
time drives me. I want to
Mhm.
be able to go on vacation. I want to travel internationally 3 to 4 times every year and not worry about it, not even question it.
Where have you been already?
Oh, this year we went to Portugal, we went to South Korea and Japan. We're going to Italy and Switzerland for Thanksgiving. Last year we went to Italy, France, and Spain. We also went to Costa Rica. We also went to Portugal again. And then we went to Germany and Austria as well last year. And so I want that to be my norm.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And I just don't. I thankfully have a sugar daddy. He's an amazing husband and also, gets a decent paycheck, and my business is doing fine. And
Yeah.
so could I franchise this and make a lot of money? Sure, but I'm not here for that. I got one life to live, and that is not my idea of success.
Yeah. I understand. The travel, and I'm a big believer in balance.
Hmm.
So I tell people all the time that no matter what stage you are in your life, you need to balance it because if you're just working 60 to 80 hours a week and trying to stuff as many dollars into whatever you're stuffing into for retirement, you could wake up at 60, 62, whatever, and not be here because
Yeah.
of stress and all those other things that you're talking about. And so
Hmm.
I think that, if you treat it with a balance of life, then if something unexpected happens, you can say you lived a full life up to that point, you know?
Absolutely. I see way too many people in retirement whose bodies no longer work, and so then they
Right.
can't go do these things, and
Yeah.
I'm just not willing to wait for that. And so I thankfully have an amazing team in place that I can leave for a week and a half to 2.5, 3 weeks, and the business still runs, which is a great place to be. And I never thought I would be here, but it's pretty amazing. And I do the same for my providers though, and all of my staff. Like they all are basically required to take their time off, otherwise they lose it. And so go leave the office, go get refreshed, start over, come back ready to take care of people.
Absolutely. And that's what I used to tell. I have had multiple size, businesses over time, and I'm really kind of downsized now because I felt like it was a republic of Wally, where, I had all these people that were making all this great 6+ figure income, and it was really off of my energy and what I was doing, and they weren't incentivized necessarily properly to do it themselves. And
Hmm.
so I said, I can make more money just keeping it small ball.
Sure.
It's not small ball in terms of the amount of stuff I do for clients, but I don't have to have a lot of people that are hanging around just collecting a paycheck.
Yeah.
Uh,
I think really defining your definition of success is really important. And I had to learn this the hard way because I was chasing what I thought I was supposed to be doing. Why not? If you have 3 clinics, why not 10, right? You can do this. Build it bigger, faster, stronger. You have to get better and bigger every single day. And unfortunately, that leads us all to this world we call burnout. And
yeah,
this is why businesses fail. You can only put so much in, you have to refill your cup. And so, my idea of success is spending time with my family. I have a 10-year-old. I want him to know who I am before he leaves my house in 7 years. Like,
and 7 years will be here before you know it.
I know. And
Yeah,
so, that's probably one of the best things I've learned owning a business as an overachiever and a people pleaser to a fault. I was that girl and I completely burnt myself out being my own boss. And that was why I left the corporate world, was because I was burnt out. And so I wasn't going to let myself do it. And now I'm kind of living my best life. I can't
yeah,
lie. And so
yeah.
we're just going to
Gotta
keep
love
riding
that.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I know your husband's an MBA and you've got your business going.
Mhm.
Do you guys have some kind of target horizon for not being in this business, like a retirement?
Yeah. So we've set ourselves up financially to retire in 7 years when my son
Okay.
graduates from high school. So I will be 50. And so we were able to do that without considering the sale of my business. So if at that point, that's just icing on the cake. What I find though is that I need to have purpose in my life. So yes, retirement sounds amazing. I want to go to Europe for 3 months and like live there. But I don't know whether we'll sell my business or I will just be chairwoman of the board or
Yeah.
just the president who checks in a couple times a month. There are definitely some tax incentives to owning a business. And so I mean, a lot of my travel is paid for by credit card points that I earn through my business.
Yep.
And so I'm not exactly sure of what that looks like, but I will tell you 7 years from now, when my son graduates from high school, I do want to be work optional.
Uh-huh.
My concern is, in order to sell this, who do I sell it to? Right. And
Right.
I will not sell out to an MCO. I will not sell out to some big giant corporation that is going to get rid of everything that I've built. I need to make sure my employees are taken care of and then the patients are still taken care of in the way we do. And so it would have to be a very special person for me to hand that over, which maybe my employees, I'm not sure.
I was going to say, employee stock option plan kind of comes into mind where they are
Yeah.
vested in it, and they take it over and run with it.
Yeah. So we may go the ESOP way. I have worked with I've been working with an exit planner for about a year now, just to try to, every day it's like, okay, what else do I do that I need somebody else to do? Right. Because if you are your business, your valuation is worth nothing. Right. And so you
Yeah.
have to be able to step away from that. And so every day I'm trying to get rid of more and more of my tasks, make
Yeah.
somebody else do it. So
So other than, obviously they get paid, what other kind of things do your employees,
mhm.
your key, like the nurse practitioners and office managers, stuff like, what kind of other things do they have that, is purely more of a benefit?
Sure. So we offer a 401k with a 3% match, up to a 4% match if they put in five. So we match the first three straight up and then 0.5% for the next two. They all get 3 weeks of PTO. They all work 4 days a week. 8:30 to 4:30. My
Huh?
providers only take call once every 7 weeks.
Okay.
They all get free memberships at our office for all of their them and their immediate family. And they get to work for a boss that loves them and adores them and sends them to the spa when things are getting ugly. So a lot of it we try to keep. We're still a small business. And so we let them leave for 2 hours in the afternoon and go to their kids' show at school. So we're all about being flexible. But I will tell you, not only are they well financially compensated, but we treat them like human beings. And I think that that's probably the best benefit they get, is because I truly do treat my patient or my employees the way I would want to be treated. Because I had that toxic CEO once who was just a jerk and didn't see anything except for dollar signs. And I don't ever want to be that CEO. And so I feel like if you treat your employees the way you would hope to be treated, I think that's the best benefit you can give them.
So, let's just say 2025. Okay. I'm assuming you have a CPA.
Yes.
So, the way you're structured right now, you got your payroll and you got your expense and all that kind of stuff. What are some of the things that you're doing for yourself that's also doing for your company when at the end of the day, I'm gonna make the assumption that you're not losing money or you're not necessarily just barely getting by. So as things grow, what types of things are in place for you as a business owner?
Sure. Yeah, we have been profitable since month two, and
Okay.
we're 6.5 years in. So, I mean, we do owner's distributions. I will tell you, one of the best benefits I get is literally I get over 100,000 credit card points to travel and fly first class, because I would never pay for a first class ticket.
Yeah.
But when I can get them from credit card points, absolutely we use it.
Yeah.
My child is on payroll. He has an
Hmm.
NIL deal and he replenishes the snacks. Like, we have a contract written for him. And so he gets paid $14,000 a year into his own savings account. And then he has a Roth IRA that we max out every year. And
Yeah.
so my kid is on track to be a millionaire by the time he's 18. And I mean, that's invaluable to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so we do a lot of different tax strategies. My husband has his own business as well. We actually have three business entities. And so there's different tax strategies. We use a lot of the Augusta rule, which is helpful, just to pull out money tax free, because I don't need to pay Uncle Sam any more than I already do, especially as my husband as a W-2 employee. But yeah, I mean, I think my biggest take from the business will be continued revenue, continued income, and or the sale of my business at some point.
So, has anybody ever talked to you about creating like a personal pension for yourself and or your key employees?
Once upon a time that was talked about. My key employee has really been identified in the last 12 to 18 months because I moved out. And so it's definitely something we've considered, nothing that we've made any decisions on at this point, but we're going to have to do something to make that happen. So,
Yeah, because a lot of my clients and people I talk to, they don't realize, but you can do it where it's not taking money out of your pocket. It's taking money that's on your balance sheet that's an asset and using it to leverage it for that pension plan, which ties that kind of golden handcuffs for that key employee, gives them incentive. But at the end of the day, you're giving them like a Fortune 100, type of
mm,
benefits that they're not going to typically get at a small business.
yeah,
So, yeah,
yeah.
that's something. So, we're coming up on 35 minutes. So, anything that I haven't addressed or that you'd like to share? Because, like I said, we're going to create this podcast and I'm going to get it back to you in about a week. But is there any other areas that I haven't talked about or concerns of yours?
No, I think we covered it well. I mean, it's been a roller coaster ride as a business owner with all the highs
Yeah.
and lows and all the things. Um, it's definitely a learning curve that I've had to figure out significantly. I mean, like I said, I have 3 degrees in nursing, none in marketing, accounting, or anything in between. And yes, my husband has an MBA, but they don't teach you how to stand up a business in MBA school. Turns out
Yeah.
that's more of the consulting side of it and making sure
Yeah.
they stay afloat. So he's
Yeah.
really helpful on like management things and like how to deal with certain situations. But from the actual like business standpoint itself, it's like, are you helping me out here, buddy, or what? But yeah, I mean, business, if you had asked me 7 years ago if I would be where I am now, there's no way. No way, right? The fact that I don't see patients anymore is something I never thought I would do. And also something I thought I would miss, but I don't actually. I realize that I'm in it for the relationships. So,
Yeah, absolutely. As you should be. I mean, I think, where like myself, I don't need to be working at this stage of life, but it's so easy for me to do these types of things. This podcast stuff emanated from new technology, and
yeah,
it's a way for me to get stuff out. I mean, I guarantee you, it'd have been unlikely that you and I would have ever met, 5
yeah,
years ago.
probably
Uh,
not.
but I have clients in Texas and Arizona and Colorado, which, I've got family in all those three states, and I currently am in Denver. So,
No, yeah,
um, I just like having conversations with people.
absolutely, for sure.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time. We'll be getting back to you within probably a week with the podcast itself, and you'll have the ability to kind of share that with your network of people. And there again, you share it with your patients because it'll be a good, kind of I don't know, maybe a PR piece to help them understand a little bit more if they don't. But I look forward to talking to you soon.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Thank you.